Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to be taking a look at this puzzle on the screen, which has an astonishing 100% approval rating on Logic Masters Germany and 5 stars out of 5 for difficulty, so it's sort of a perfect storm when it comes to puzzling. Now, it's called Parhelion, which I've just realised I should have looked up before I started the video because I can't remember what Parhelion means. It's by Shinya, and Shinya has appeared on the channel a few times before, and if I remember rightly, always with superb puzzles. So I'm now trying to remember, rack my brains about what Parhelion is. Something in space, I think. I think it's like a sunspot. It's a bright spot in space. That could be wrong. That really could be wrong. Oh well, how to make yourself look daft in front of a lot of people. No doubt you will let me know in the comments what I have misremembered. Anyway, that's that. I'll read you the rules to the puzzle in just a moment. Yeah, semi-serious point first of all, before we get into the puzzling. And that is, we've had a lot of emails over the last week or two from people who use the channel for a purpose it was never really designed to be used for, but we're delighted for the assistance it gives. It's a sort of mental health point. We've heard from people who suffer from either anxiety or insomnia, and the videos seem to provide a cathartic effect. They seem to relax people, and they seem to allow them to get a good night's sleep. So if it's just an appeal, frankly, if you know anybody who might benefit from that, then do let them know about the channel. They may have no interest at all in Sudoku, and indeed many of the emails we get are from people who have literally never thought they would be interested in the channel, but they have found something that helps them, and therefore if we can reach more people like that, we should. So it's just a suggestion. If you do know anybody who might enjoy the videos for that reason, do let them know that we exist. Anything else to mention? Not really, I don't think. We're not far away from the new Patreon reward. The Patreon reward for October. We have got something very, very exciting for you. A huge sort of Sudoku hunt themed around lockout lines, Sudokus, and by some of the best setters in the world. Frankly, it is an extraordinary collection. So that's coming up start of October. If you're a patron of the channel, look forward to that. If you're not a patron of the channel, do think about joining us there. It is, quite frankly, the best Sudoku club in the world, and it costs a couple of bucks a month. And that's all I've got to tell you, I think. There was something else, but I can't remember what it was. So I want to get puzzling. Let's look at the rules to this. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. Okay, you can see we've got 4 cages by the looks of things. That means those 4 digits there have to sum up to 20. These 4 have to sum up to 19. And there's no rule about numbers not repeating in cages, because the normal Sudoku rules takes care of that. You obviously can't repeat a digit in those 9 cells, and neither can you repeat a digit in those 4 cells. And I can hear Maverick. As if by magic, Maverick has taken off from the airport and is flying past my window. Now, other than that, we've got clues outside the grid. Give the sum of the digits along the indicated diagonal. There's loads of those, look. There are 8 so-called little killer clues. Digits may repeat along such a diagonal if allowed by other rules. So what that means is, let's look at this one. These digits here, 7 digits, these 7 digits have to sum up to 47, but we can repeat a digit. So we could have like 3 9s in those squares, and then whatever the balance was, we need another 20 into those squares. And that would be fine, because these 9s don't break the rules of normal Sudoku. They're each in a different box. They're not in the same row or column. In fact, you could put in more 9s if you really wanted to. You could have a 9 there, and a 9 there, and a 1 there, and a 1 there. And it would be quite amusing if that was the correct construction of this 47 clue. But I doubt it is. So let's get rid of all that and do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And right, well, there are a few things that are immediately interesting to me about this setup of the grid. The first is an obvious point, which is that each of these cages individually, I have not got a clue how it's made up. None of these totals, you know, if this was adding up to 30, it would be interesting because we could immediately write in 6, 7, 8 and 9. But I know there's a 1 in a 13 cage. There you go. That's the best I've got for you out of these 19s, 20s and 13s cages. There must be a 1 in a 13 cage, because if there isn't, 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 equals 14. So that means these two squares must be adding up to at least 5. 2, 3. But if they were if they were 2 and 3, then actually that couldn't work either. So they have to be, we have to have either a 2 or a 3 in the 13 cage as well as the 1, otherwise it won't add up. So let's put a 3 in there, so we can put 2 in there, and then 2 and 4, is that going to work? 1 and 3, no, it would have to be 1, 3, 4, 6. No, that's not right. That's absolute rubbish. 1, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 4, 5 would allow those to be 2, 6. Actually, maybe this is restricted then. Sorry, I might be completely misleading myself. So if there is no 2 in the 13 cage, it has to be 1, 3, 4, 5. These could be 2, 6 as a minimum. That's 8, and these would have to be a 1, 2 pair. Whereas if there is a 2 in here, well, then you've either got 3, 7 or 4, 6 alongside it. Let's just say it's 1, 2, 3, 7. No, that doesn't work, does it? 1, 2, 3, 7 means that you get... Oh no, it does work. 1, 2, 3, 7, you could get 4, 5 and double 1. Oh, bobbins. 1, 2, 4, 6, you can get 1, 2, 4, 6. You can have 3, 5 and 1. I think these two squares, however we cut this, have to be either a 1 and a 2 or a double 1. Let's try it with 1 and 3 just to prove that that's correct. If this is 1 and 3, these add up to 7. We can't use 2 and 3, or the 13 is impossible. And, no, the way to see that's not possible is if those add up to 7, add another 4 cells that add to 13. That would imply 6 cells add up to 20, and they can't. The minimum 6 cells with different digits add up to is 21. So there is a point there that's derived from the fact that there has to be a 1 in the 13 cage. So these two squares are either double 1 or a 1 and a 2. So one of them is a 1, which means this square is not a 1. And neither is this square. Wow, okay. Right, and that's a very long deviation away from where I was planning to go. The thing that was occurring to me is that these look like sort of Fistemafell ring type positions, don't I? So I'm sure most of you have come across the Fistemafell ring, but the Fistemafell ring is the proof that these 16 orange digits here are the absolutely identical digits to those 16 digits in that ring going around the central box of the Sudoku, which is an extraordinary thing when you first find it out. But here, I have no idea how to use that, because we literally know nothing about those cells. So that's another red herring. Sorry. Right, so I think we have to start with the little killer clues. So let us... Well, I was about to say that there's probably no instant win here, but the 55 number is quite big. That's a 7-cell diagonal. Yeah, that's averaging awfully close to 8, because 7 times 8 is 56. So these digits have to be enormously high. So if we went 8, 9, 8, 9, that would be 34. We'd have to get 21 into those squares. The maximum we could get into those squares would be... Oh no, I was about to say would be 24. But that's assuming they're all different, which they don't have to be. They could be 3 9s. Bobbins. So there are actually quite a lot of degrees of freedom, because that would imply the maximum I could get into this diagonal would be 8, 9, 8, 9, and then 3 9s, which is 61, unless my mental arithmetic has done me down. So there's a lot of degrees of freedom. Okay. I'm not terribly surprised by that. I mean, this is supposed to be a very hard puzzle, so I think what we're likely to have to do is to combine the little killer clues somehow. So let me have a look at this. Let's just try and... You can see they're forming sort of patterns in the grid. That one does that, that one... Oh no, that one's okay. That's a repeated. Oh, that's horrible. Okay, they're actually overlapping each other, which makes me think this is probably. Although that is a very pretty pattern. Let's just highlight that pattern. So that's the pattern you get. That's the pattern you get if you highlight every single cell along an indicated diagonal, but it's a little bit complicated because some of these cells are... That cell is in the 47 and the 41 diagonal. Yeah, this cell as well. This cell... Oh, I see. It's the corners of this diamond going around the middle. All of those cells there are counted in 2 different diagonals. So, what does that mean? I'm wondering if it's something set related. So, for example, if we highlighted 4 columns of the Sudoku, let me just look at this for a second, if you don't mind. This is all going to get a bit purpley. That's four complete columns. That's 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. This would be 4 complete rows of the Sudoku. Oh, golly, this is already getting horrifically complicated. So therefore, anything that is both purple and green, I could delete, which allows me to delete these cells. And these, actually, because they are... Although that's now... Oh, no, because if I'm deleting stuff from orange... What I was hoping to do was to sort of overlap the sets with what we... Oh, hang on, I don't like this. I don't like this. What I was hoping to do was to somehow force some digits that we might know the total... Where we might know the total of the digits from the fact that we know... We don't know the total of the orange squares quite, but we sort of do. We know what the total is of the orange squares if we add up all the clues around the grid, accepting that each of these 4 cells is double counted. You can. Ooh, now that's interesting. That's interesting. So maybe we do need the Fistemafell ring. What I'm thinking now is if I highlight, if we think about a double Fistemafell ring, what I mean is the Fistemafell ring is ordinarily used to say that those 16 cells, I'll make those, I don't know, yellow. These yellow cells here are the same digits that appear in those cells. I don't know what colours to use here. Red is a silly colour to choose, sorry. Let me go to black. Yeah, I'm going to go black. So, now ordinarily this is used to sort of, yes, say there's an equivalence of the digits, but one thing we could say here, we know the totals of the yellow cells, therefore we know the totals of the black cells. So we almost know, we're getting very close. If we add up all of the little killer clues, add up all of the 2x2s in the corner, transpose the 2x2s in the corner into the ring in the middle, we're counting these cells umpteen times, but we're getting close to a complete Sudoku count, which would be also including those cells. That is a fascinating idea. I'm sorry about the colouring here. Maybe I should use green for that. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just do that. Look, that is magnificent. So, I'm just wondering if it is worth doing the maths on this. I'm going to have to do it now because I'm sort of tempted by it. So let me try and explain what I'm thinking. The secret tells us that the whole of a Sudoku grid, if we add up every single digit that appears in the correct solution to this puzzle, we will get the number 405. Why will we get 405? Well, it's because every row of the Sudoku contains all of the digits 1 to 9 once each, and those digits add up to 45. So we've got 45 in that row, another 45 here, another 45 here, etc. 9 times. 9 times 45 is 405. So I've got 405 as the total for the whole grid, but here I know the totals of some. I think we can build up the totals of. Oh, this square's awkward. That's double counted, isn't it? Oh, God grief. This is horrifically complicated. Right, I'm going to try and do this. And I might need to resort to Notepad to do this. So if I do, you'll have to excuse me. But what I want to say, I think... Where do we start with this? I'm going to start with the orange squares, I think. So the orange squares, if I add up all of the orange squares, I'm going to get the... When I say add up all the orange squares, I mean add up all the little killer clues around the grid. I'm going to get a total that includes these cells twice. But these cells are going to be counted so many times by the end of this, it's going to be mad. Anyway, let's do that. So we've got 49, 60, 115, 118, 138, 139, 179, 209, 209, 216, 256, 262, 282. 282 is the number. 282. Will I remember that? 282, because we are not finished with the arithmetic here. 282 is the sum of the orange squares if I count each of these 4 cells at the corner of the diamond twice. 282. Now, let's look at the Fistenfell ring now. I should have done this first because I've got to double this total to get the total for this, the central ring. But anyway, let's hope that we can cope with the mental arithmetic. So if we add up the yellow squares, look, we've got 38, 58, 61, 71. Double it, because obviously these yellow squares are appearing in the ring. We've got 142. So 142 plus 282, was it? That's 424. 424, so we're already higher than the total value of the Sudoku, which is, I think, a good thing, because we have not finished yet. 424 is the total for the whole grid, apart from this column and this row. Those squares there. But, so what I was thinking is, if that set of digits there is equal to 45, this set of digits here is equal to 45. Now obviously, that cell, I can't just add 90 to 424 and say that's the answer, because I'll have double counted this cell and I'll have something like quadruple counted these squares here. So 424, so that's 514. So 514, I'm going to change the colour of this one because we need to know that this is double counted. So 514 is the total for everything. I think quadruple counting these squares and double counting this one. I've got 5 colours in here though. Why have I got 5 colours? I need to check this. This cell has been counted once in this diagonal, once in this diagonal, that's twice, once in the Fistomerfell ring, that's 3 times, once in this column, 4 times. So it should have 4 colours in it. Oh, I think it's because I put blue as a flash to indicate that this was meant to be a double counted square. So I had orange and blue. So maybe if I get rid of orange from those squares, it'll look a bit more sensible. So I've got... I'm not sure if that's a sensible idea or not, but I think I know what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that these, in my 514, these 4 cells are counted 4 times. This cell was counted twice. And this 514, the double counts or the triple counts or the quadruple counts must be the difference between 514 and what you get if you added up the whole Sudoku grid without double counting individual cells, which is 405. So that's 109, isn't it? Is it 109? That feels really difficult. So 109 is so in the 405, each of these would have been counted once. In my 514, these are counted 4 times. So the 109 is counting these cells 3 times, and then this cell added in once, because this was counted once in the 405, but it's counted twice in the 514. This is crazy. So let's max those out. If we max out these, we go 8 9s in both columns. That's 34. Hang on. But it's 34 times 3, isn't it? Because each of these digits is count. So if this was 8 and this was 9, this 8 would count 3 times. This 9 would count 3 times in adding up to my 109. So I've got 34 times 3, which is 102. What was I going for? 109. Oh, done it. That's a 7. That is hard one. 22 minutes to get a 7 in the middle of the grid, but it is a 7, I think. I'm sure you've all got there already, but I think this is forced because we had to make 3 lots each of these 4 cells plus this cell equal 109. So if we max out these, which is 8 and 9, we get those 4 cells now add up to 34 because they're each an 8-9 pair. 34 times 3 is 102, and that means the highest digit we can then put in the middle is not 8 or 9 anymore, because this middle cell sees 8 and 9. So it has to be 7. And what we can't do is say, for example, think, oh, I'll put 7 9 into these squares, because of course the 7 is then getting counted 3 times instead of the 8. And you won't ever get to 109 if you put 7 9 there and put 8 in the middle, you'll get nowhere near the right number. So you have to absolutely max these out. That is a remarkable and absolutely crazy break-in. But what I suppose I quite like about it is that it is quite signalled, to be fair, to Shinya, because the moment I saw the puzzle I was thinking Fistomerfell ring. I just didn't understand that I had to combine it with the diagonals, and yeah, I could really have missed that as well, because it's quite hard once you see they're overlapping in a particular cell to convince yourself that you've got to keep overlapping these cells until you reach a count of 4. But now we might be able to do some of the puzzle, I think. Although I would be very tempted to get rid of the pencil marks. The colouring, because how useful is the colouring going to be? The Fistomerfell ring might be useful, because of course these black cells we now know we've got to put. Oh yeah, hang on a minute. Yes, In fact, let me interrupt my brain, because we now know this is an 8-9 pair and this is an 8-9 pair. So in the yellows, I've got to put 2 8s and 2 9s, but I can't put any in a 13 cage. If you put an 8 in the 13 cage, the minimum you could include with it would be a 1, 2 and a 3. That's 6. So the minimum count would be 14, not 13. So there's no 8s and 9s in there. You can't put 8 and 9 in a 19 cage, because if you do, the other 2 cells will have to both be 1. So if you can put 1 of 8 and 9 in there, 1 of 8 and 9 in there, you have to put 2 of 8 and 9 in there, and that cage is a 1, 2, 8, 9 quadruple to get to 20. That's lovely. That's absolutely lovely. So yeah, we definitely cannot delete the Fist Ferrol ring. I think I'm going to delete the orange cells though, because the orange cells are just, and I'm telling you, what about these? These can't be important, can they? No, I'm going to get rid of purple and green, I think. Do I need to know this was double counted in the sum? I don't. Do I need to know that these were whatever these were? I don't think so. So I think we can reach this point. Now, maybe I should now change the colours so that everybody likes me more. I'll change those to those and that to that. There we go, because I think blue and orange are the optimal colourblind colours. Okay, now what do we do? 30 diagonal? Yes, this must be restricted. Those 2 digits there can't, the highest I could make those would be 6 and 7. Sorry, just getting a text message, but it's only about bicycling. These 2 squares, right, okay, so we can immediately do this. This could be a 6-7 pair, in which case these have to add up to 17. Which would mean they were an 8-9 pair. The maximum these 2 digits could be would be double 9. If they're double 9, then you can make these add up to 12, which means we can't do double 6, you'd have to do 5, 7. That's a bit annoying. Okay, it would be quite nice if we could. You do get 8-9 pairs though off the back of that. I'm wondering if we can get rid of double 9, either because that puts a 9 there, or because that forces double 8 here, and double 9 here. Yeah, there you go, that's impossible. You can't have double 9 here, because that forces a 9 into the 13 cage where it can't go. So if you can't have double 9 here, you can't have double 8 here, so you can't have double 9 here. Yeah, in fact, there's another way of saying that. This is really amazing, the geometry in this puzzle. If you do have double 9 here, that's a 9, look, looking at box 3. But we know there's a 9 in one of those 2 boxes. And there couldn't be now, because you've ruled it out by Sudoku. So I think there's a variety of ways of proving this is not double 9. So this is an 8-9 pair, which is 17, which means this is 13, and the only way of getting to 13 is with 6 and 7, which means those squares, the other squares in box 3, are now 3, 4 and 5. Which means what exactly? Don't know. The other thing that I'm now wondering about is whether I'm meant to colour these 8s and 9s, because obviously I know whatever this is, it's not this, which means it is. So this one is the same as this one. And yeah, no, maybe that is important, because I'm just thinking if that, whatever that one is not this one, so it's the same as that one. But also, whatever this one is not this one. So that means that one is yellow, this one is red, and this one is yellow. Okay, no, that might be a red herring. I suppose we now know those 2 are the same. And I know these two are different. And I can't put whatever these are, I can't put them in the 13 cage. Yeah, okay, so there's definitely... Yeah, so whatever red is in one of those two cells. Whatever yellow is in one of those two cells. Right, here we go. Right, I can do better, because now I'm going to use the 11 diagonal, which definitely can't have an 8 or a 9 on it. The 8's a bit harder to see, but let's imagine this was an 8. How would we make the other 3 cells add up to 3? They'd all have to be 1s, but this can't be a 1 ever, because there's a 1 in the 13 cage. You can't put an 8 or a 9 on this diagonal. And if you can't put an 8 or a 9 on this diagonal, those colours should be removed. These are therefore 8. So this is an 8-9 pair. That's the simple way of seeing that. So this is an 8-9 pair in box 7. So that means yellow is in here, because just by Sudoku, which I could have seen before. Red is in here by Sudoku. In fact, red is in one of those two squares. Yellow is not there. Now there's strange symmetry going on with reds and yellows. And we now have to think again about what to do next. Do we... So on the 55 diagonal, I'm now noting I've got 3 digits that are the same colour. I think this diagonal had loads of latitude though, didn't it, before? So this square now is a maximum of 7. This square is oh, see, that can be 8 or 9. It just can't be red. Okay, and this one can be 8 or 9, but can't be red as well. So the maximum along this diagonal is 3 reds. Let's make red therefore 9, because we get 3 lots of those. So that's 27, plus 2 lots of yellows, which will be 8. So that's 16 onto 27, which is 43. So hang on, that's forced then. Am I going crazy, or is this forced? It looks like, if I've done the maths right, that has to be a 7-5 pair, which I'm a bit surprised about, because I thought this one had lots of restriction on it before. So I'm just going to double check this. So the logic is telling us these 3 digits are the same. So I get to count these 3 times. Twice? What am I talking about? This one cannot be the same as that. So this would have to be yellow. If we're maxing it out, this would have to be yellow if we're maxing around, because that's red. So the maximum I can make those 3 digits is 27. The maximum in turn I could then make those digits is 16. 27 and 16 is 43. And I've still got those 2 digits to come, which need to add up to at least 12 and cannot add up to more than 12. I can make this 7 and this 5, and that's it. So I think that is forced, and that means those 3 squares all become 9s. These squares become 8s. They therefore get awarded a yellow badge. Now that must be 8 now, because yellow is 8, we've discovered. 8, 8, 8, 9. 9 is in one of 2 places in the middle box. Let's just double click the 8s and see if we can see anything magical there. 8 is in one of 2 places, I think. Oh, no, we can do better than that. We can't put 8 in the 19 cage with the 9, because then the other 2 digits are going to be 1. So that's not 8. This is 8, I think, which means it should be yellow. Those are not 8. Oh yeah, that would be the other way of seeing that. We have to have an 8 in one of these 2 squares. So that's the way we could have seen that a bit more simply. So 8s I've done... Yeah, I've placed 7 of the 8s, and I've got 8s in a sort of dominoes in boxes 1 and 3. So let's try and do better with 9s then. Yeah, okay, so 9 we know can't go in the 19 cage with an 8, so we can rule out most of the cells here. We can place 9 in one of 2 places here. 9 is not in those cells. This corner cell is down to 1 or 2. And I'm not quite sure where we should look now. I'm tempted to look at this diagonal because I've got 3 8s on it now. But, okay, this square has a maximum value of 7. It can't be 8 or 9, look. This square has a maximum value of 9. This square has a maximum value of 9, I think. So on this diagonal, you get 3 8s and 2 9s. So that's 24 plus double 9. Why doesn't my brain want to work? 52. Oh, that's already way over. Oh, this is nonsense. Right, okay, let's ignore this. This is not the way to do this, I don't think. So the 47 has too many degrees of freedom. The 26, that square can't be higher than 7 now. This square can't be higher than 7 either. That's 14 as a maximum. So these squares have to be at least 12. That's not useful. That could be 9 as well. That could be 9. Oh, bother. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not picking the right diagonals to look at here. 23. That one can't be 8 or 9. That's 7. That one can't be 7. Ah, this one, look. Unless I'm going crazy, that can't be 8, 9 or 7. So that's highest value is 6. It's still not good enough, I don't think. Oh, though there's a 7 here. That's not bad, actually. Look, we can do some Sudoku. Yes. Look, now suddenly we're getting more of a restriction here. Let me check this square as well. This square here has to be, that's got a maximum value of 6. So we've got a maximum value of 13, so these have to be at least equal to 10. But this has got a maximum value of 6, and this has got a maximum value of 5. So there is hardly any freedom along this diagonal. Those maximums add up to 24. So we can actually... Ah, this is good. This... Oh, whoa. This square, look. If it's not 6, it drops down in its next value to 4, and that's no good. You can't put 4 in here because these squares at their maximum would only equal 18, and 18 plus 4 is 22. So this square is a 6. Now, does that mean that one has to be a 6? Not quite, I don't think. 6 in the box has to be in one of those 2 cells. So these squares here have to add up to 17. Yeah, okay, but we can do more here. If this square is not a 6, what should we make it? Well, if we make it a 5, the problem with that is that now this square has to be at least equal to 5 because we know those 2 squares had to equal 10. But this has no option anymore. It can't be 5 because we put 5 there. It can't be 6, 7. It can't be 8, 9. So this can't be 5. And if it can't be 5, you can see its next digit down is going to be far too low. So that's going to have to be 6. That's not 6. We've now got 12 on the diagonal. We need 11 more. So this could go down to 4, because this can be as high as 7, or if that's 5, this could be 6. I'm desperately looking for a way of restricting that a bit further. bobbins. What about 7? Can we do something with 7 in this? If we put 7 in the 19 cage, we're putting it in there with 9, because 9 is red. So that would be 16. We need a 1-2 pair in here as well. That would put 1 and 2 into those cells by Sudoku, which would give us a 1-2 pair here. Gosh, there's a lot going on in this puzzle, and I'm far from sure that I'm doing it in an efficient way. Oh dear. Okay, where should we look next? So we've analysed this diagonal. We've done this diagonal. So the bottom of the grid we've really done some work on. This diagonal we've not done much on, but we don't know much about this diagonal. This can be a 7. That can be a 5 maximum. That square's got a maximum value of 6. That's got a maximum value of 6. This has got a maximum value of 7, I think. So let's do some sums. That's 21, 30, 36, 41, bobbins, 48. So there is a whole world of pain along this diagonal for us to look forward to. Let's get rid of those pencil marks. 7s. Can I do something with 7s? 7 is in one of these 2 cells. Whoopsie. I've got no clue where to look. Have I looked at the 49 recently? I'm not sure I have actually. I'm going to look at this one. Now, this square here, it can be a 9. It can be a 7. If it's not those, it's reduced in value to sort of piddly things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 or 9. This square, I think this can be a 9, you know. This is what's the problem here. Yeah, 9 in box 4 can go in 4 different... Sorry, 9 in box 4 can go in 3 different places, one of which is here. So you can just double 9 at the start of this diagonal. And if you do that, you can treble 9 it by putting a 9 here. So you can reach 27, 36, 44 in an instant. You've still got an 8 here for 52, and you've still got a digit here that can be as high as perhaps 7 for 59, and there are beaucoup degrees of freedom along that diagonal. Really a lot. Which is problematic, isn't it? What did I look at the 26 diagonal? I can't remember. Let's have a look at this again. This square here can be as high as 7. This square, that square there. Yeah, that square can only be as high as 6 now. So these have to add up to 13 at least. So the options for this square are 9, 7, 4. But if that is a 4, this has to be a 9. So this square here, this square here can't be 7 or 8. It can be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, that is a good lift level of pencil marking. What does that mean? What I'm wondering now is, I'm wondering about putting a 9 in one of those 2 squares, because that's going to suddenly affect the value of both of those squares quite dramatically. In fact, that's beautiful. Right, here is a sensible thought. I can massively restrict my good lift pencil marking, which is always a good thing, by considering... Or is this a fool's errand? I was noting that if that's a 9 or if that's a 9, those have to be a 7-6 pair, because you can no longer put 9 into either of those squares, and these can't add up to more than 13, so you need at least 13 here, which means you need a 7 here and a 6 here, which are the maximums if you can't put 9 in. that's a 9, then you have to put 9 here. If that's not a 9, this square is a 9. Yeah, I think there is something here. It's quite hard. It's quite difficult, and I'm probably not going to articulate it terribly well, but let me try. If this is a 9, this is a 9 as well, and we get these two squares having to add up to 18, and then these would have to deal with themselves somehow. But if this is not a 9, this becomes a 9. And once this becomes a 9, one of these two squares becomes a 9 in box 4. Once one of these two squares becomes a 9 in box 4, these two squares have to be a 6. In fact, it follows from this being a 9, doesn't it? It's the same logic. You then can't put 9 into these squares, so they have to be 6, 7. So this square is either 9 or it's 7. It's never 4. And this square, that's 9, you have to put 9 here. So this square's 9 in one iteration of the world, and it's 6 in the other iteration of the world. That's really, really complicated, and there may well be a better way of proving that, but I think these two squares are very much more restricted than at first blush they seem to be. Now, what on earth does that mean? That's the next question. And the answer is I have not got a Scooby-Doo. Sorry, and I'm just pausing here, not because I'm trying to be difficult, but because I'm trying to just see if there is something I can do here to make more progress or make easier progress, because I don't want to try and work out loads and loads of stuff about 9s and get into pencil marking 6 digits in a box. That is going to be a way that this video becomes unmanageable. Can we do maths? Maybe maths is more of our friend than Sudoku. Yeah, I'm wondering about this box actually. I've got 14 here plus 19, that's 33. These add up to 12. Add up to 12. 5. Aha, yeah, okay, that is a bit useful. That cannot be a 5, I don't think. The reason it can't be a 5 is that if it is a 5, those two squares have to add up to 7. But there is no way to make that work. 1 6 is not available, 2 5 is not available, and 3 4 is not available because there's a 3 4 pair in the column, and this can be neither a 3 nor a 4. So that's a 4. Now I've got 16, so I need another 7. That's a 7 here, which has come out of nowhere. Doesn't quite tidy the 7s up in box 9. Oh, I was about to say it places 7 in box 2, but it doesn't. I think the 7 can still go in one of 2 places, which is incredibly annoying. Okay. Oh no. So what's that done for the world? Has it done anything? Oh, it's given me a 4 here. Okay, I see. 4 by Sudoku of all things. So we get a 4 along this line, or a 4 ruled out of this line, I suppose is a more correct way of putting it. Okay, well that's great and everything, but I suppose in this column now I've got 6 digits all but placed, so I need 1s, 2s and 5s into those cells. So 3 must be vertical in these squares, which means 3 must be vertical in those squares. Maybe maths on this box. Look, we've got 17 there plus 13 is 30. These add up to 15 without using a 1. That's no good. Though they could be 4, 5, 6, which would be helpful. 4 would go here. This would be a 5, 6 pair. But they don't have to be. Okay, don't know. What about the 49 diagonal? Have we learnt more about this? This square's, oh, that square's now right. Okay, that square's more restricted than it used to be. I think because of the 7 we've just got here. We've won the 7, and now this square can only be as high as 5. Okay, so that could be 5. This can be 9, I think. I'm sure there might be a better way of doing this, but I can't see what it is. It's not the Fistemafell ring, is it? I don't think it is. Until we actually know more either about the ring or the 2x2s, I don't think it is. Let's carry on with this. So this can be a 9, can't it? I can have double 9 in those squares, I think. What are the options for this square? It can be lots of things, I think. I think this is the problem, is that an awful lot of these cells can be very, very large. So although this can't be 8 or 7, it can be 6, 9, or anything beneath that. There you go, a properly good lift pencil mark. So let's look. We can have 18, 27, 53. I've already broken the bank, and I've still got 2 more digits to put in. This is hopeless, absolutely hopeless. So I think there must be another cell or 2 in this puzzle that are much, much more restricted than I realise. Maybe I'll come back to the 47 diagonal then. I've got 24 on it at the moment. So I've got 23 to fit in. Oh, that square can only be as high as 6. Maybe this one is the one that's going to help us. But that can be 9 again. This square can be 9. I don't see why it can't be. So if we max out everything, we need 23 into these squares, and we can get it easily. Maybe what happens if that's not 9? That loses the ability to be 8. It could be 7. If it's not 6, it's then 5, and then it becomes ludicrously small. This square, if it's not 9, it's 6, or it's ludicrously small. This square, if it's not 6, it's got all the abilities in the world. That square is the only really true pencil mark. So, so what I'm thinking is things like this. If this is 9 now, though 9 is ruled out of both of those squares, which forces these squares to come down to a maximum value of 13, whereas before they had a maximum value of 18. So that really does impinge upon their ability to be massive. So we get 24, 37. God, that would need a 6 and a 4 there. So if that's 9, that's absolutely huge. That really is powerful. The other thing I'm now thinking, it's quite interesting actually. Is there a way we can... So it's not just this digit that has that effect, it's this digit as well. There's all sorts of stuff going on here between these 9s all over the place. If that's 9, again you force a 7-6 maximum here and a 6-4 maximum here. What's that digit if that's 9? If that's 9... Oh, there you go. Right, that's not 9. That's very hard to see, but it's not. Here is the reason. If that's 9, this square has to be a 6. And the reason for that is that these squares here are a 6-7 pair. So the only way to get to 26 is if this is 6, 7, 6, 7. But if this square is 6, now let's have a look at this diagonal and see what effect this 9 has had. It's removed 9 from there, so this has a maximum value of 7. In fact, I'll do it, 7. This has now got a maximum value of 6. This now has not got a maximum value of 6 because this is a 6, so it's got a maximum value of 5. Now I don't think we're going to get to enough total here. We've got, well, how should we do it? We've got 21 there, 29, 37, 42. Even with a 4, you've only got 46. Doesn't work. Whoa. So this square here is not 9, and if it's not, oh, it's not going to be good. Oh, no, 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 no. Is that not really useful? 9 is now in one of 2 places in box thingy thing. I think this is how we have to approach it, though. That there are restrictions here on how these digits all work together, and it's sort of, I think, yeah, this is probably how I should have thought about it before. There's some way of combining these diagonals, and it's quite difficult because there are so many of them. But there are some restrictions that exist which are very much, which are very important. Let me just think about this a little bit harder now. Let me just think about this a bit harder. So, has that, yeah, okay, eliminating 9 from here, has that done damage to this diagonal now? Because now on this diagonal we've got 16, 25, 30, 39. These have to add up to at least 10. Which is almost beautiful. It means I can get rid of 1, 2 and 3 from here straight away. If I could get rid of 4 from here, I'd have a 7, 9 pair in this box and I'd be able to get a 7 there. How do I get rid of 4 here? That requires me to get rid of 6 from here. Is there a way of doing that? Is there a reason this can't be a 6? And the answer is I don't know. Has the fact that these two have to be a 9 done anything to the world? Well, not these two. One of these two has to be a 9. Don't know. What have I just got from this then? Have I really got this little? This one not being able to be 9 felt very profound. It really did. Sorry, I am trying to think, I promise. And that, yeah, I was looking at this being a 9, wasn't I? Because if this is a 9, is there some restriction on this? I've got 24. I need 23 more. I need 23 more from 4 cells. Let's make that a maximum. So that's 19 I need from these cells. I could possibly get a 6 here. So I need 13, don't I, from these squares, so I can get rid of 1s from these, and 2s, and 3s. But can I do better than that? That's the question. The answer is I'm not sure. I need at least 13 from those cells. And again, if this was 9, I think that would still work. So maybe I've got to think about it differently. This is perplexing, I have to say. What about if this is 9 then? If this is 9, what effect does that have on everything in the world? That forces this to be 9. It forces this to be 6, 7, 6, 7. So if this is 9, we get the 6, 7, 6, 7 effect. Oh, there's a diagonal I've not looked at here, you know, which is the 41 diagonal. Oh no, okay, let's have a look at this one. Is this somehow useful? Let's make that green. The The answer is probably not, but I don't know. Let's look at the cells along it then. This square here can't be 9 or 8. Don't know whether it can be 7. Could be 7, I think. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, etc. This square can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This square can be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This square can be 1, 2, 3, or 5. This square, well, that square looks more restricted. Maybe that's just... Oh, you know what I didn't do? Once this is a 4, those two squares had to add up to... Can't remember what the maths was we did. 33, 12. These had to add up to 8. So if this is 1, 2, or 5... that's not a 2. There you go. There's a little deduction. So this is a... Oh, God. It's a 7 or a 3, which we already knew. Okay, that's hopeless. Right, so what do we know about this diagonal then? We've got 17 on it. We need another 24 in these cells, but there are 5 of them. Now, what can we do with that, if anything? That's the question. The answer is I've not really got a clue. I can see if this is 9, these two get dragged down quite a lot. 24. Let's just try and max these out. We've got 17, 24, 29, 35, 41, 48. So I have to get rid of a lot of degrees of freedom. Does a 9, the reason the 9 here is interesting to me is it gives me a 7 here, which gets rid of the 7 here, but it also gives me a 6 here because of this effect on this diagonal. So this sort of decimates this early pair of digits on the 41 diagonal, because I can no longer put 6s or 7s in either of those positions. So these would come down to at best double 5, I think. So that would be 10. If that's a 9, you have to put a 9 here. $10, 27. I need 14 more. I need 14 more. This has become a 9. Is that doing anything else? It needs to do more work. I mean, in this iteration, it looks like this is going to have to be a 7. But I'm not actually even sure that's true. Is this doing some sort of work to this diagonal? If this is a 9. If this is a 9, what's that doing? You can't put 9 there. That cell. Right, maybe it's this cell that's key, because I've just noticed that if this is not 9, it drops in ability to be anything. It has to be 5 as its next highest digit. So maybe this square is interesting. So if that's a 9, you get 9 here, 6 here, 8 here, that's 23, 5 here, 23, 28, 37. Oh, it's nearly there. It's really restricted. It's really, really restricted. So if this is 9, I think there is something going on this diagonal. But I can't quite see. I was hoping I'd be able to actually force the diagonal to be something. There's definitely something going on. There must be some way of viewing these diagonals in pairs somehow, or triples somehow to limit things. But I'm not seeing how to do that. So I'm just going to continue with my analysis of the various numbers, and especially I think the way the 9s interact in these cells here. I think that this seems to be the key because these diagonals are so affected. So if this is a 9, you get a 9 here for sure in box 1. You could have a 6 here, that's 15, 30, 23, 28, 28, 37, 45. This has to be a 4 or a 5 to make it work. But that does work is the problem. It really does work. It really does work. So how do we actually improve upon that? That's the question. How do we improve upon that? I have not got a clue. I'm sorry for I keep going backwards and forwards, but that's because I haven't got anything else I can think of doing. Is there some other way of mathematically forcing this? I know those add up to 15. I can see why this puzzle is 5 stars out of 5 for difficulty. Even if there is a quick way of doing this at this point, it's not that straightforward, I don't think. Famous last words. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm going to come back to this diagonal then. We've got 24. What do I need? 23 in the other cells. So, is there some way? Is there some way of forcing something here? 23 in the other cells. Yeah, that's a bit interesting, isn't it? So if this is not 9 on this diagonal, the interesting thing about that is that this is also not 9. Because once this is not 9, that's a 9, and then that's not a 9. So if this is not 9, these two have the ability to be 13. I think I've done this logic already. That's 37. And then we need 10 more. If I could just get rid of even one degree of freedom, if that couldn't be a 6, it would be hugely powerful. So if this is not 9, you have to go 6, 7. Sorry, is that right? If this is not 9, that becomes a 9. You have to. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that right. So the simple point is, if this isn't, I don't know if this is simple or not, but it's what I've now understood. If this is not 9, because this is therefore forced to be a 6, 7 pair in order to make the diagonal add up, and I think it is forced to be a 6, 7 pair because you need to get to 10 in this domino, and the only way of doing that is with 6 and 4. This square here is either a 6 or a 9. And this square here is either a 7 or a 9. Let me just double check that. If this is a 9, that's a 9 by Sudoku. If this is not a 9, this is a 9. This has to be high enough that this diagonal works. So we get 24, max out those two digits not being 9. We get 7 and 6, 37. We still need 10 more and we could just do it. Yeah, there you go. So there's a 6. Ooh, that's not 6. That's a 7, 9 pair. That's actually really beautiful. I think I should have spotted that much more quickly, but at least I've got there in the end. That's not 6 anymore now. Has this done anything for me though? Has this done anything for me is the next question. Please do something for me. Please have done something for me. I realised at the start I didn't prove the Fistimofel ring, did I? That's appalling. I just asserted it. I've never done that before. It's because I got carried away with the arithmetic logic. If it turns out to be necessary, well, if I solve this and this video ever goes live, I will put the Fistimofel proof at the end of the video. Of course I will. So what do we get from that? We eliminated a 6 from there. That's affected this diagonal, hasn't it? So now what do we do? So now if this is... So now if this is 9, have we got a problem? We reduce this to 5, so we get 16, 25, 30. That would then be 35. We need 14 more, which we can do. Oh God, I thought there was something there. I thought there was something there then. You rotten thing. So if this is 9, you have to go 9, 5, 8, 5, 9, 5, 8. So if this is 9, this diagonal gets forced. And if this is 9, this diagonal also gets forced, because that rules 9 out of these two squares and makes them a 6, 7 pair. Oh, so maybe that affects this diagonal then. So hang on, this is horribly complicated. If this is 9, you get 6, 7, 6, 7 here. Which puts pressure on these cells. These cells can therefore 6, 7, 6, 7. These cells have a maximum value of 5 each, although that one can't. There's a 5 here, isn't there, in this analysis? I think I'm going to show you this. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to try and prove this myself, and if it works, I'm going to then fill in the digits, because otherwise I'll get accused of bifurcation. If this is a 9, this becomes 9, 5, 8, 5. So there's a 5 here. So this square's highest digit is now 4 because there's a 6 here. So we get 4, 5, 9, 17. This can't be a 5. 17, 21, 30. We need... Oh, that's therefore a... Oh, hang on, that can't be a 5 either. We can't get there. Can't get to 41. Okay, that's it. This square here is not a 9, and this is very, very difficult to see indeed. And there may well be a much more beautiful way of proving this, but I'm going to show you a way. If this is 9, we have to keep in our minds several different effects that this has. The first effect is on this diagonal, which now, because 9 can go in neither of those squares, is forced to be 6, 7, 6, 7 to add up. It's the only way you can get to 26. Now, the other thing we've got to keep in mind is the effect this 9 has on this diagonal as well. And this diagonal, now, let's think about how we're going to get to 49. There's only one way. This has to be maxed. This has to be maxed. This has to be maxed. This also has to be maxed. And hopefully we will just get there with those digits. Let's check. We've got 22, 32, 40, 49. So we just get there. So this 9 forces not only this diagonal, but this diagonal as well. And the effect now is on the green diagonal. And it's profound, because this square has a maximum value of 5. This square has a maximum value now, not of 5, but of not 6. It's got to be 4 maximum. This can't be 5 anymore. It sees 5, so that's 4. This square can't be 5 anymore, so that's 3. And now if we add up this diagonal, I don't think we can, even with a 7 here, get to the right number. So 17, 21, 30, 33, we need an 8, and it's not available. So you have to sort of use all 3 or 4 diagonals together in order to prove that this is Roggen. Yes, that is absolutely barbarically difficult, and I'm sure there's a better way, but that's the way I have found. This square is not 9, it's 7, which means that's a 9. That's not a 9 anymore. That's probably going to have an effect on this diagonal. Yeah, in fact, where does 9 go in this box now? We knew it was in one of those two cells, so now this square is a 9, which means that square is a 9 in the middle box, which means that square is a 6, which means that square is no longer a 6. I need to do this quite slowly, I think, because otherwise I'm going to get myself in an awful pickle. These two squares now add up to 18, so these squares have got to add up to well, I've got to add up to 8, but that looks like it could be done in a variety of ways. Okay, what about this diagonal then? This diagonal at the moment has got 37 on it. We need 10 more. The only way of doing that is with 6 and 4, so we get a bit more there. 6, 4, 3 go into the grid. So now... now what? Now maybe this diagonal, which no longer has the ability to have a 9 here or here. So we've got 34 in the given cells. We need another 15. This is maxing out at 5, so we need 10 from these two squares. Ah, so that's got to be a 7. There we go. That means we get a 7 in there. Oh, now this diagonal in turn is forced. We needed those two to add up to 8, so that's forced to be a 1. Get rid of some good lifting. Get rid of more good lifting over there. 11. I'm tempted to try and do maths on this box, actually. I've got 19, 20, and 16 is 36. These squares have got to add up to 15. So, they can't use 9, so they must be set. Oh no, I've made a mistake. Sorry, I made a mistake, I think. 20. Oh no, I have made a mistake. I'm talking absolute gibberish. How did I get that total? 20, 36. I need these to add up to 9, not 15. I don't know where I got 15 from. 9 here. So 2, 7, 3, 6, or 4, 5. Ah, but this... Right, okay. So we've got to look at these three squares. These are a 1, 2, 4 triple. So this square is a 2 or a 4. So that's got to go with 5 or 7 into that square. And it can't go with 7. There's a 7 here. So this should be a 5. This should be a 4. And I'm going to triple check this. So I've now got 16, 30. I've got 45 in the box. So that does look useful. Okay, now I've got a 1, 2 pair here. So this is a 3, 4, 5 triple. 4 is locked into the 13 cage I'm seeing. So that means we've got the other two digits in here have to add up to 8 without being 1, 7. So it's either 2 and 6 or 3 and 5. Don't know if we know which yet. We've done this diagonal. Not done that diagonal yet, but that diagonal I think we're going to have to revisit. We have done that diagonal. Done that diagonal. Oh, this one I've not looked at either for a while. But I think that one had quite a lot of degrees of freedom on it, except when you put a 5 in this square. So perhaps that's not where we look next. Let's look at those squares. Those squares have got to be 2, 3, 6, and 8. So we can get rid of 6s from here, 8s from here, 3, 6, and 8. Okay, don't think that's done it, has it? Let's come back to this one then. So this one's got 34, 41. We need those squares to add up to 8. Now, that can't be 1 because this can't be 7. This can't be 6 either. So this is 3, 4, or 5, which means this square is also 3, 4, or 5. And yes, we can now announce the word bobbins because that doesn't resolve what we need it to. Oh dear. Okay, that's not a 5 because of the 5 here. So this is a 3 or a 4. Okay. So that's not a 2, because there's a 2 in one of those squares. This is quite hard. 4 is now fixed, believe it or not, in this box here. It's got to go in that position, which limits it in box 7. Oh, okay. So now we can ask where 6 goes in column 3. I think it can't go here or here, and indeed not here either. So it's got to go there. Now 7 in this column is forced. It's got to go here. That places 7 in box 9 of all places. I think we might have done all the 7s. We have done all the 7s. And now we can do maths on this digit, of course, because we've now got 30 plus 13 is 43, so this should be a 2 in order to make the box add up to the right number. That gets rid of some 2s at the top of the grid. Okay. And we can now pause and ask more questions now. So these squares here are 1s, 3s and 5s. Okay, still not quite good enough, is it? Those two squares are a 2, 3 pair, which does mean this square is a 1. Oh, the 11 diagonal. How long is this? Oh, this has only just become available from the 2, 7. Oh, that's a relief. So this is a 1 as well. That places a 1 in this box. Removes a 1 from those two squares. Whoopsie. So this is a 3, 5 pair. So this is a 1. Oh, so this has become a 2, 5 pair. So that's not a 5. This square's got to be a 1 or a 3. There's a 1 over here. So that's a 3. That's a 1. There's a 1 in one of those two cells. This 3 is doing work over on the other side of the grid. I'm hopeful here. We do seem to suddenly be making some progress. What are those squares then? Those are a 1, 5 pair. These are 2, 3 and 4. So this is 4. These squares are 5 and 6. Now let's double check all the diagonals then. Which ones haven't I used, if any? I have... Oh, this square's now known, isn't it? Oh, those two had to add up to a number, but I can't remember what the number was. 34, 41, 8. So this has got to be a 4. Okay, good. Doesn't do anything, but good. These two squares have got to be 2 and 6, which we can do. So that's 6, that's 2. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, that's a 3 now by force. That's a 5, that's a 1, that's a 5. Gorgeous. This is an incredibly clever puzzle. And I am going to await with bated breath the verdict on my solve, which may not be overwhelmingly positive, or it may be. This may be a very hard puzzle indeed. Hopefully that's the case, and you'll forgive me if I've gone round the houses to get some of the digits into it. So now now in fact this diagonal has just been done by Sudoku, I think. Let's double check it adds up to the right numbers. So we've got 22, 31, 41. It does. That's great. But rather worryingly, I've now used all the diagonals. I thought I was doing quite well with the Sudoku, but I've not actually. That's a 3, 4, 5 triple, look. Oh, so 4 goes in the corner, which doesn't deserve a song. 2, 3, 5, 6. No, that's a quadruple. 3, 5, 6, 8. That's a quadruple. What's going on? Okay, let's look at this box down here. This is going to be the key, I think. 2, 3, 5, and 9. So 5 is not in those squares. 3 is not in those squares. 2 is not in these squares. And 9 is not in these squares. Oh, good grief. 1 is not in that square. So 1 is placed in box 3. I have a horrible feeling that we are going to need, maybe not, I was going to say we might need a Y-wing or something. Often with these patterns like this, that is the technique that we need. So let us look for a bent triple, and we will see if we can find one. 5s, 2, no, 2, 9, 2, 3, oh, there you go. You can't put a 2 here, because that would force double 3 there, and you couldn't put a 3 in box 7. So that is not a 2, that's a 9. Good grief. Okay, which means this is a 3 and this is a 2, which means this is a 3 and this is a 5. And if this still breaks, we are going to have to cry. 2 and 3 here, 8 and 6 here, 2 and 8 here and here, 9 and 5 and oh, Shinya, take a bow. That's ridiculous. That is an absolute beast. The break-in is beautiful. I love the idea of the quadruple squares. I really thought that was elegant, clever, well telegraphed, and yeah, it's very, very nice indeed. After that, I got in the biggest mess trying to sort out these diagonals, and the only thing I could do was to sort of envisage the effect. I think there's something going on which I haven't quite got my head around, between the fact there were 9s in these 6 positions, and each of these, if we look at these 6 positions, in fact, let's just get rid of the highlighting. Control A, isn't it? I meant to do, and then this. If we look at these 6 positions there, they affect an awful lot of the diagonal space in the grid. And I think there was something I was meant to appreciate about this. But in the end, what I had to do was to force this, there was some very interesting geometry with the effect of there being a 5 here on this diagonal. Which is fascinating, and I definitely need a Fistenfell, and I didn't prove it. So I'm going to show you a proof that somebody tweeted at me. Oscar, I can't remember your surname, Oscar, but I did think this was rather elegant, and it's a different way to my usual way of doing it. So why is the Fistenfell ring true? Well, these 5 columns of the Sudoku are clearly 5 sets of the digits 1 to 9. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Now let's remove that central box. That's clearly 1 set of the digits 1 to 9. So at this point, if I do this, I've got 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. I've got this box, that's 1, this box, it's 2, this column, and this column. So that's 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. Now, how would we describe these 4 rows of the Sudoku? Well, clearly a complete row of the Sudoku is 1 set of the digits 1 to 9. So these orange squares are now 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. In other words, the orange cells contain exactly the same digits as the blue cells. So what would happen if I removed this cell, this 1, from the blue set and the orange set? Well, obviously it would still be true to say that the orange cells and the blue cells were equal, because they're equal at the moment. They're both 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. And if I remove the same digit from both sets, clearly what remains in both sets will still be the same. And that holds true for any cell that has 2 colours. So I can remove these cells. They're in both sets. These cells, they're all in both sets. And there you go. It's still true to say that the orange squares and the blue squares are the same set of digits. And we could even go around and prove it. 1, 2, 8, 9. Let's get rid of 1, 2, 8, 9 from the middle. So there you go. 9, 3, 2, 5. 9, 3, 5, and 2. Let's get rid of those. 1, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 4, 5. Get rid of those. We should find that this box is 2, 3, 6, 8. 2, 3, 6, 8. And that's why the Fistenfell ring works. So an incredibly long video, one of the longest we've ever done on the channel. Don't know whether it was my ineptitude or it was Shinya's deviousness. You will have to let me know. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.